Hello everybody, Eric again. Like and subscribe. Here we go. Let's read about Dare to Be Stupid. Dare to Be Stupid is the third studio album by the American comedy musician Weird Al Yankovic, released on June 18, 1995. The album was one of many Yankovic records produced by former McCoy's guitarist Rick Derringer, recorded between August 1994 and March 1995. The album was Yankovic's first studio album released following the success of 1984's In 3D, which included the top 40 single Eat It. The music on Dare to Be Stupid is built around parodies and pastiches of pop and rock music of the mid-1980s, featuring reimaginings of Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Huey Lewis, and the News, and the Kinks. The album also features many style parodies or musical imitations that come close to, but do not copy existing artists. These style parodies include imitations of Devo and Elvis Presley, as well as imitations of various musical genres, such as doo-wop, science fiction soundtracks, and music from the 1920s and 1930s. Despite a mixed critical reception, Dare to Be Stupid sold well and peaked at number 50 on the Billboard 200. The album produced one of Yankovic's more famous singles, Like a Surgeon, a parody of Madonna's Like a Virgin. The single peaked at number 47 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album was Yankovic's second gold record and became certified platinum for sales of over 1 million copies in the United States. The album was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Comedy Recording in 1986. Production. Recording. In January 1985, Yankovic began the recording sessions for his In 3D follow-up album. Rick Derringer, former guitarist for the McCoys, returned as producer. Backing Yankovic were John Bermuda Schwartz on drums, Steve J on bass, and Jim West on guitar. The first session yielded 4 originals: Dare to Be Stupid, Cable TV, Slime Creatures from Outer Space, and One More Minute. The band also recorded a cover of the theme from George of the Jungle. The following month, Yankovic began recording the album's 4 parodies and polka medley: Yoda, Like a Surgeon, I Want a New Duck, Girls Just Want to Have Lunch, and Hooked on Polka Dots. And Hooked on Polkas. Originals. This Is the Life, originally commissioned for the gangster spoof movie Johnny Dangerously, and comically describing a gangster's lavish lifestyle, had already been recorded and released as a single in November 1984. The album's title track, Dare to Be Stupid, is an ode to living life stupidly, according to the liner notes of the Ultimate Video collection. The song represents Al's moto in life. The song is a style parody of the band Devo, whose reaction to the pastiche was positive. Yankovic said, right after I finished Dare to Be Stupid, I went over to Mark Motherbug's house and played it for him. He seemed to enjoy it a lot. The song was later released on the soundtrack to the 1996 film The Transformers the Movie, and Yankovic later mused that more people were introduced to the song by the movie than by his own album. One More Minute, about an ex-girlfriend, was written in the style of an Elvis Presley doo-wop song. According to the liner notes of Permanent Record, Yankovic was preparing to write songs for Dare to Be Stupid when his then-girlfriend broke up with him. In order to mentally deal with the heartbreak, Yankovic decided to write a humorous song to express his anger, eventually writing One More Minute. Yankovic tears up her picture in the video. Slime Creatures from Outer Space features prominent usage of a theremin, courtesy of Steve J, in order to emulate the sound of cheesy 50s sci-fi soundtracks. Parodies and Polka. On February 21st, 1985, Yankovic began recording the parodies for Dare to Be Stupid. The first parody recorded for the album was Yoda, Yoda was originally written by Yankovic during the initial run of the 1980 American film The Empire Strikes Back. After the success of the movie, Yankovic toyed with the idea of writing a song based on the breakout character, but was unable to find a suitable song to use as the base. Yankovic remembers, "I was still in college at the time, and a friend of mine named Mike suggested that I do the song to the tune of Lola, which I couldn't believe that I hadn't thought of myself, since I was such a huge Kinks fan." Yankovic wrote and recorded a version of the song using only an accordion on a 4-track cassette for the studio. The version of Yoda was a hit on the Dr. Demento show and even managed to hit and hold on to #1 on the Funny 5 countdown for several weeks. The early demo was later released on the 6th volume of Dr. Demento's Basement Tapes. After the success of the demo version, Yankovic wanted to put the song on one of his albums. However, securing permission from George Lucas and the Kinks delayed the release of the song for about 5 years. Eventually, after Lucas gave Yankovic permission, the song's publishers turned Yankovic down. Several versions of why the parody was turned down exist. In a 1985 interview with Spin, Yankovic explained that "We approached Wade Davies, the song's composer. We've been approaching him every year and a half, 2 years before each album comes out, and he's always been a little skeptical, a little afraid, because Lola was a very personal song for him. Then just out of the blue, he decided this time to let us do it." However, the liner notes to the permanent record present a different story. According to the album's notes, the song may have remained unreleased for some time, had it not been for a chance encounter between Yankovic and Davies. When Yankovic asked why he hadn't given him permission, Davies remarked that he had never been asked. Davies immediately gave Yankovic permission to record the song, and the song was later released on Dare to Be Stupid. The day after recording Yoda, Yankovic started recording Like a Surgeon, the lead single for the album. Although Yankovic normally refuses to use parody ideas from other people, Madonna is partly responsible for Like a Surgeon. Madonna asked one of her friends how long it would take until Yankovic synthesized her song Like a Virgin into Like a Surgeon. This friend was a mutual friend of Elle's manager, Jay Levy. When word got back to Yankovic, he decided it was a good idea and wrote the song. This is the only known time that Yankovic has gotten a parody idea directly from the original artist. The third parody recorded for the album was a parody of I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News, entitled I Want a New Duck. After the recording of I Want a New Duck, Yankovic was uncomfortable with releasing the album as it was. However, Scotty Burrows insisted that Yankovic include a parody of a Cyndi Lauper song. Yankovic complied, producing Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. However, because he was effectively forced to record the parody, Yankovic has cited Girls Just Want to Have Lunch as one of his least favorite songs, and ultimately left it off his 1993 compilation album, The Food Album. Yankovic also approached Prince about a potential parody of When Doves Cry, circa 1984. Prince refused and did not accept any future parody ideas Yankovic presented to him. On March 25, 1995, Yankovic rounded out the recording of his new album with a polka medley of then popular songs and music. Dare to Be Stupid also includes George of the Jungle, a cover of the theme song to the 1967 TV series. It was the first of only a few cover songs, not counting polka medleys, released by Yankovic. The song later appeared on the soundtrack to the 1997 film adaptation of George of the Jungle, not the two. The song later appeared on the soundtrack to the 1997 film adaptation of George of the Jungle. Reception, promotion. After the release of the album, Yankovic undertook the 70 City Stupid Tour. This was his biggest tour of the 1980s and featured costume changes, carefully designed lighting, and several of Elle's videos cleverly integrated into the stage show. Yankovic's on-stage wardrobe changed dramatically during the tour, and he specifically stipulated that every promoter had to supply one garish Hawaiian shirt for him to wear. Yankovic eventually acquired a couple closets full of them. Yankovic also started wearing exclusively Vans and joked that whenever I need some, they let me go to their warehouse and take home an armload. The videos that were made to promote Dare to Be Stupid were later compiled with additional material into a direct-to-video mockumentary called The Complete L. This production, directed by Lankovic's manager, Jay Levy, and Robert K. Rise, was one of the first programs of its kind to be made, especially for the home video market. A 60-minute version was later aired on Showtime. To go along with the video, the tongue-in-cheek book, The Authorized Owl, was also released. The book co-written by Lankovic and Tino Isena has since gone out of print. Critical response. Dare to Be Stupid received some moderately favorable reviews from critics. AllMusic reviewer Eugene Chadbourne awarded the album 3.5 stars and cited Like a Surgeon and Dare to Be Stupid as some of Lankovic's best songs. Christopher Fallon from the Daily Vault wrote that while Dare to Be Stupid is not Lankovic's finest album, there is enough on this one to recommend it. The song Loda has gone on to become one of Lankovic's most famous songs, although it was left off his first greatest hits album. The song was featured on the second volume, the Berg Set Permanent Record, and the 2009 compilation, The Essential Weird Al Lankovic. The song appeared on the Time Machine episode of The Weird Al Show, and on the compilation album, Radio Disney Kid Jams. Although the lead single, Like a Surgeon, and the parody Yoda were met with praise, many criticized the album's other parodies. Many critics were split on the amount of emphasis the original songs were given. Rolling Stone writer David Hinckley wrote positively that the pick of the album's original letter is 1 More Minute, which is a parody of a style 50s vocal group rather than a specific song, and is a super B tuned besides right down to the perfect little gasp right before the final chorus. In contrast, Chadbourne was disappointed with the original material, stating that only someone who is missing important brain cells would suggest this artist's original songs are any good. The album was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Comedy Recording in 1996, though it lost to Whoopi Goldberg's Whoopi Original Broadway recording. Commercial performance. Dare to Be Stupid was released on June 19, 1985. It was the first album of musical comedy to be released on compact disc. Dare to Be Stupid eventually peaked on the Billboard 200 at number 50. The album spent a total of 8 weeks on the chart. On January 27, 1996, a little less than a year after its release, the album was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. On February 24, 2003, the album was certified platinum by the RIAA. Track listing. Side 1. Number, title, writers, parody of, length. 1. Like a Surgeon. William Steinberg, Thomas Callan, Alfred Lankovic. Like a Virgin by Madonna. 3 minutes and 32 seconds. 2. Dare to Be Stupid. Lankovic, style parody of Devo. 3 minutes and 25 seconds. 3. I Want a New Duck. Christopher Hayes, Hooch Craig III. Lankovic. I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News. 3 minutes and 4 seconds. 4. 1 More Minute. Lankovic, style parody of Elvis Presley like Doo-Wop. 4 minutes and 4 seconds. 5. Yoda, Wayman Davies, Lankovic, Yola by the Kinks. 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Side 2. Number, title, writers, parody of, length. 6. George of the Jungle, Stan Worth, Sheldon Ellman, cover of the George of the Jungle theme song. 1 minute and 5 seconds. 7. Slime Creatures from Outer Space, Lankovic, style parody of 1950s sci-fi soundtracks. Hyperactive by Thomas Dolby. 4 minutes and 23 seconds. 8. Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. Robert Hazard. Lankovic. Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. 2 minutes and 48 seconds. 9. This Is the Life. Lankovic. Theme song of the film Johnny Dangerously. Style parody of 1920s and 1930s music. 3 minutes and 6 seconds. 10. Cable TV. Lankovic. Style parody of Hercules by Elton John. 3 minutes and 38 seconds. 11. Hooked on Polkas, various, a polka medley, including 12th Street Rap by E.J. L. Bowman. State of Shock by the Jacksons and Mick Jagger. Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top. What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner. Method of Modern Love by Hall & Oates. Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. 99. Love Balloons by Nina. Footloose by Kenny Loggins. Reflex by Darren. Mental Health. Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot. Relax by Frank and Goes to Hollywood. Air Booker Polka by Weird Al Yankovic. Total length, 37 minutes and 4 seconds. Personnel, credits adapted from LP liner notes. The Stupid Band, Weird Al Yankovic. Lead vocals, background vocals, accordion, keyboards. Thermine. Jim West, guitars, background vocals. Steve J, bass guitar, banjo, background vocals. John Bermuda Schwartz, drums, percussion. Joe Peskin, clarinet. Tommy Johnson, tuba. Al Viola, banjo. The Glove, scratching. Musical Mike Kiefer. Musical hands. Bill Scott, George of the Jungle, track 6. Our stupid guests. Pat Wagon. Synthesizers, piano. Sonny Burke, piano. Rick Deringer, guitars. The Waters Sisters, background vocals, track 10. Warren Leaning, D.E., trumpet. Jimmy Zavella, saxophone. Gary Herbig, saxophone, clarinet. Technical, Rick Deringer, producer. Weird Al Yankovic, arranger. Tony Papa, engineer, tracks 1 to 8, 10 to 11. George Tutko, engineer, track 9. Lane Donald, art direction. Dennis Keeley, photography. Low Beach, illustration. Charts and certifications. Charts. Chart, peak position. US Billboard 250. Can, RPM, top 155. Certifications. Country, certification, sales thresholds. United States, platinum. Singles, Dear Song, peak positions. US 100. AUS, CAN, AUS 100. Can 100. 1985, Like a Surgeon, 47, 19, 35. Bye for now.